Welcome to When Good Things Happen, where our mission is to inspire people to discover and learn about all the things that can really make the golden years the very best of your life and share a few financial ideas to help you make your vision for retirement a reality. Host Tom Gandolfi is your guide on a how-to adventure to help enhance your retirement lifestyle.
Welcome back to When Good Things Happen. Hey, we've got another great guest on today and really kind of a cool story. You know, what I do and what my company does is help people plan for retirement so they can put themselves in a position financially to really enjoy the best years of their life. So we really live, eat, and breathe retirement around here, and I love looking for stories that are unique or make retirement special. And, you know, retirement is as much of a mindset as it is anything else. And I see it all the time where people get to the point where they're really kind of done with the 9 to 5 or the rat race or the traffic or the coworkers or the whatever it may happen to be, long hours or bosses you don't want to deal with or corporate red tape or clicks at work. I hear about that all the time, and sometimes that drives people to just kind of say, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm done. I've kind of put my time in and I'm done. But they're really not done. They're still, young, they're vibrant, they're active, they've got great minds, they want to contribute, they want to do some different things. And that's really pretty common. And the guest that I've got in today, his name is Ian Kowalski. Hey, Ian, how are you?
Great, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. This is kind of what Ian's story is about. You know, he was a corporate executive. I'm going to let him share some of his work history, and he got to the point where he didn't want to do the corporate thing anymore. And at the same time, he wasn't really done. You know, he's young, he's an active guy, he's married, he's got a son. And he wanted to still engage. And by the way, Ian's very smart. He's an intelligent guy. He wanted to contribute, wanted to do some good things. And he decided that the answer was just to become his own boss. Start applying his talents and his time to something that he was passionate about after he was done with the workforce and kind of wanted to move on from corporate America. So how did this whole journey start? So, what's your background? What kind of career did you have?
Well, the way I build myself now, Tom, is I'm a recovering engineer. So my career started as an engineer out of college. And I'd say that in the first half of my career, I was a rocket scientist. I worked in aerospace-type industries and materials and had a heck of a lot of fun doing that. And then to make a bad joke, about the early 90s, peace broke out. And so a lot of our industry was funded by defense.
Right.
And so moved over to another side of the business that is now selling more over to commercial. And I got inside the company. So I'm doing business process improvement. I'm running IT. I'm working on Lean Six Sigma and the supply chain.
Okay.
That was a heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that came to an end in about the end of 2009, where I was helped out the door with the recession.
yeah, that helped a lot of people out the door.
But luckily, I had a nice package, and so I had a chance to look around and figure out what I'm doing. So that really became the third half of my career.
All right.
And
three halves. Interesting. Only a rocket scientist can have three halves.
Well, it's very important, and I look forward to the fourth half sometime in the future. So I did a little bit of consulting. I got involved with a small company, Lehigh Technologies, and did some neat things in a 70-person company that I'd never done in large corporate America.
So that was much smaller than what you had been used to working in before.
I was Fortune 500, Amoco, BP, Solvay, these
huge
types
companies.
of companies. Yeah. Yes, and so it was really neat working in a small company and learned a lot there about people. It's really about people, and the people are the same. Big companies or small companies. What's different is the management. And you can get things done quickly with respect to the management side, but with the people side, change is change, and you got to work with the people on the floor.
Yep.
Then
makes sense.
Moved on to came to an end on that one as the company had some financial issues, and I went out the door on that one. Mutual parting the ways. That actually went very well.
Okay, good.
Then
you've collected a few packages over the years, haven't you?
I can say I have not been hurt.
Yeah, good. That's a good thing.
I was very fortunate on that.
And all of these changes really led to where you are now.
That is exactly right. Had one more position in there with corporate America for about a year, but the frustrations of corporate America that I kept seeing are there's a lot of management hierarchy. There's a lot of bureaucratic red tape. And on any given day, others are making decisions, putting all kinds of rushes and deadlines on you, coupled with you're not having that much fun. Maybe 30% or 40% of your time, you feel like you're actually doing something. And 60% of the time, you're just running in place.
Yeah, that kind of feels like what our country feels like right now. But anyway, we won't go down too far down that road. But anyway, so you ran the course of corporate America. You sort of did what you wanted to do there. But I don't think you were in a place just to retire. I mean, it's not what you wanted to do. Even if financially you could have done it, you weren't mentally ready to do that. Is that correct?
That is totally correct. And very fortunately, what had happened is back when I was with corporate America, my wife decided to take a flyer. She quit her job. She started a company. You do the small company stuff you do when you're doing startups. You don't take a salary for 5 years, and you get it going. And I was there to be the backstop. And so that worked well. And I worked a couple hours a week just helping with supply chain things. And then come about 2016, the way the cards played out, the company is growing. I had a chance to go full-time. I work for my wife now. She's my boss.
All right.
And it's a lot of fun. And I would say the biggest difference with this in corporate America, well, the two differences are, one, 80% of what I do actually means something and is either going to the bottom line or we're getting something done.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. I mean, work is great and work is necessary, and we do it because we've got to put food on the table and all of those great things. But when work means something to you, it's so much more pleasant to go and do it every day. And it's why I enjoy what I do. This means something to me, and I know I make a difference, and I like coming in here every single day. That's a huge difference versus just, kind of punching the proverbial time clock and putting your time in. It's a huge difference.
The other thing I love about it is I'm learning.
That's great.
You don't ever stop learning. And so with a small company, there's always challenges. And there are the, oh my gosh, moments, the sky is falling. But you don't treat it that way. You kind of realize the Covey thing. There are things that are outside your circles of control, and you got to let those go. You're not going to be able to change them. Right now, container costs are through the roof. But how we decide to deal with them as a company, and you do that and take a rational approach, you move forward, and the sky isn't falling.
When it's your company.
Yes, we can make the decisions very quickly.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about the company. I know that your wife got into this company really because it was in a field or in a specific type of interest that she had. So she's a kayaker, right?
Yeah, she tells the story much better than I do. Okay. But basically, she was selling point-of-purchase materials at the time. One of her customers was an active kayaker. He had an idea on a new way, a new need to how do you store your kayak. You've got 2 or 3 kayaks. They're lying around the garage floor of the wood pile.
Big long things in your garage, cluttering up the space.
Yeah, exactly. You're tripping over them and you're damaging them. So he came up with, made out of wood, a mock-up of how to store them. And he came to her and said, hey, you want to get into business and we'll make these things? And so they spent about 2-3 years and figured out how to get them made out of steel, where to get them made, got the drawings made, and initially the idea was, hey, we're going to sell that to somebody in one of the big existing companies and take royalties. Well, it's the old thing you always see on Shark Tank. Where you start telling a story and they look over at you and they say, so what's your revenue? And the answer was 0.
And all of a sudden they lose interest real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
what's the name of the company?
Suspenz, Suspenz.
Okay.
Oops, there's my Canadian upbringing.
Yeah, I heard the Z. That's Z for those who don't know what Z is. So what does the company do?
So what we actually do is we design and we manufacture, market, and sell storage solutions and transport solutions for kayaks, canoes, and stand-up paddleboards. So when you're not using them, which is 95% of the time, you've got to put them somewhere, or you've got to get where you're going to go to the water when you want to use them. So we solve the unfun part of kayaking and SUPing.
So outdoorsy.
Oh, very outdoorsy.
And I think you and your wife are both outdoorsy people. So you took something you loved, and you came up with a pretty cool idea and filled a need, and now you're getting to work in a business that you love.
So that business has been going 16 years now.
Wow.
Started with 3 products, We got up to about 120 products, and then, like with most companies, you have to pare back a little bit. So we're back down to about 105 products now, but we continue to do new product development. You're always bringing out 3-4 products a year. Some of them are patentable, and it's a heck of a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So, obviously everyone has a different situation, but I know that there are a lot of people out there that are sort of done with corporate America. What would your advice be for them if they're looking to do something other than what they're doing, maybe move on from the workforce in its current form, but do some of their own things? What would you say that they should do? What do they look at?
Wow, I mean that's a really good and a really tough question. 'Cause I tried.
But you are a rocket scientist, just for the record.
Yeah. So I tried the consulting thing. I say, okay, I grew up in corporate America. I know Lean Six Sigma. I know a little bit about some IT systems, and that'd be great for consulting. Well, the downside of that is you spend 80% of your time trying to get your next job, and only 20% of the time doing it, and that was very unsatisfying. And at my heart, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a rocket scientist. Or as I put it now, a recovering engineer. So I do have my social side. I think you hit upon it earlier in the discussion. Find something you love. Find something you know. Find something you have a passion about. So this was in kayaking. Skiing would have also worked for me. Absolutely love skiing and all. Know a lot about it. And
skis need to be stored as well.
Yes, we may be branching off into that. We do, in fact, have a solution for skis.
All right, good. Yeah, and that's. I think that is really what my advice would be as well. I mean, I've been sort of a serial entrepreneur. I out of school, I got a job with a big company, kind of did the corporate thing for a very, very short period of time, but realized it wasn't for me. And with Three Bridges, I put myself in a position where work really it doesn't feel like work. I like what I do. It's rewarding. I'm helping people. I'm making a fine living doing it. And if you can find your passion, you can make something successful if that's your desire. And, it doesn't matter whether you think you're at the end of your career or not. The end of your career is whenever you decide that day is. It doesn't have to be based upon your age. If you're 62 years old and you decide you want to launch some new kind of business in a field you love, I think you should go for it.
I think there's another thing, Tom. You said, what do you start? Find a problem. Then solve the problem, as opposed to finding a product and then search for a problem. So how does one do that? Well, you mentioned sort of the staying young thing you were getting on and doing things that are interesting. A person who was a big influence in my life was my father.
Okay.
He passed on at the age of 96 a few years back.
Wow, good life.
But my observation on him was he always looked at the world with what I would call a childlike curiosity. He was always thinking, what if? And he was always finding things about the world that were neat. And then we talk about them. And I'm looking at it the same way. And I want to keep that attitude, whether you're out paddling on the river, whether you're skiing, or whether you're just walking outside or walking into a new building. And you look and you see something new and you say, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side of it, you say, that's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. And, that's really why Three Bridges does what it does. Because there are lots and lots of financial advisory businesses out there. And there are lots and lots of people who need financial advice. But to me, the group that needs the advice more than any other is the group that includes people who are planning for retirement. And when you retire, you've got, sort of one shot to get it right. So I feel like that, there's a need and it's something I can help with. So great advice there. So what do you see happening moving forward? Do you want the company to be big and be a family legacy? Do you want to build it up to a certain point and maybe find a bigger company to acquire it? Do you have a vision for the future?
What is the exit strategy is kind of what you're getting at.
That's kind of where I was going, but I was trying to clean it up a little bit. But
okay. It sounded nicer the way you said it.
Trying to make things sound nice on a podcast. What's your long-term plan here?
We have a son. But he's making his own life for himself. He's off at Auburn. He's a senior now. He has worked in the company. He had a chance to work for UPS, so he's seen some corporate America. He is, in fact, a broadcaster, and that is, you talk about passions and follow a passion. Baseball and sports are a passion of his. Broadcasting is a passion. Where I'm backing into the answer is growing the company and passing it on within the family, probably not what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay.
But it's always
he's doing his own thing for now.
Yeah, don't saddle him with this responsibility. Let him discover his own way. So now, what does one do? Well, I'd say our goal right now is to figure out a way to run the company with less work on our parts. So right now, we do put in a lot of hours, but they're enjoyable hours. You look forward to it. It's not hey, it's Monday morning, I dread going into work.
It's a labor of love because it's your business.
Yeah, and seeing as you were in there on Sunday, it's not like Monday morning is a huge difference.
right, exactly. Just another day in the calendar.
But you take time off anytime you want during the day. If you do want to golf, you golf when it's sunny and not raining, as opposed to when the tee time is so to speak.
That's a great point.
Skiing is a very similar way. I take a lot of time off in the winter. And with this business, I've got a certain number of transactions that I have to execute upon. Mm-hmm. So I can get that done in maybe 2 hours, and the rest is sort of discretionary project work. Well, you go off skiing. I'm off for a week of skiing. I probably put in 3 hours on the computer during the week, and the rest is skiing, relaxing, and not really thinking about the company, other than if you see something neat when you're going along a chairlift and you look out on a tree and say, hey, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. That's such a great solution for so many people because they want to continue to do something that they love. It'd be nice to make a few bucks while doing it, but they don't want to be, sort of tied down with schedules and commitments. And if you can find a business that you love, you'll find that the work really isn't work. Is that fair to say?
That is fair to say. Another thing I'd add about Suspends, the way I describe Suspends is it's kind of a 15-year overnight success.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, of course.
So, that is kind of another gotcha, is how fast can you ramp up a business? There's a lot of the figuring it out and the grunt work. I'm sitting in this very nice office of yours. Mm-hmm. I've been in your previous office. Mm-hmm. You've come a long way.
Mm-hmm. Things are good.
Another overnight success.
Something like that, yeah. Well, that's a great point. And, in the case of Suspends, this vision 15 or 16 years ago for a storage solution for kayaks, canoes, and paddle boards, that was way, 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 way on the cutting edge. Kayaks, paddle boards, and canoes were not nearly as possible, particularly the kayaks and the paddle boards, 16 years ago as they were today. So, that market's really developed over time, as far as I know.
The industry has grown big. Canoes have been around forever. As kids, we were off at summer camp.
Canoes,
you went in the old Grumman aluminum canoe or the wooden canoe and all, and then kayaks came along. There was the whitewater kayaks. It's been around, but it's very much hitting mainstream. And what
I have other clients at kayak. I know that I do. So it's mainstream now, like you said.
And what my wife really did was invent a few new products that the industry had never had before, and develop them. Now there have been a lot of copies made, but we've stayed up at the top of the pyramid. We're a quality product. We have a brand.
First to move means something too. When you're first, it means a little something.
And then have a number of flagship customers. So we're in at REI.
Nice, good. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So you'll kind of have to see how things go. Maybe you look for some type of strategic alliance with somebody in the future if you decide you want to ramp down the work schedule just a little bit. But you've got a good business that's profitable. Mm-hmm. You're enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
You still have family time. You can still go skiing or fishing or golfing or whatever it is your hobbies are. I think that's sort of a win-win.
I sure feel that way.
Would you ever go back to corporate America?
Never.
Well,
that was that's a very easy question, and it goes back to what I said earlier. I think the two key reasons I wouldn't is right now I feel that about 80% of what I do is meaningful, and about 20% is kind of like that busy work. You said, I didn't really need to have done that, but I did it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. In corporate America, it's almost a flip-flop.
That makes a lot of sense. So I'll put you on the spot here again just for a minute or two. You can handle it. So if you were to identify 3 steps that someone should take that's looking to maybe sort of wind down their old career, their corporate career, and get into their own business, what would you say those 3 steps would be? First 3 they should take. There's obviously going to be many, many, many steps along the way, and they'll probably have to discover a lot of those themselves. But what are the first 3 things you would do?
Find a problem that you think many other people have, as opposed to just 2 people. Then it's a problem that you can do something about. I'm not going to go invent a new medicine. It's
not what you do.
Not what I do. Yeah. But within my wheelhouse, I can look around and there's a bunch of problems that I can spot. And then I'm going to repeat one thing that my wife Lori says many, many times, and she's absolutely right about this. Ideas are cheap. Implementation is the hard work, and it's everything. So once you got the idea and once you figured something out, you're about 20%. There's a heck of a lot of hard work. I see you smiling because
you're absolutely right. Because I know that.
People come to us all the time. Oh, got a great idea. Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But there's 17,000 steps in between here and whatever end result you think you're going to get with this great idea.
There's an absolute great book, I think, for anybody who's thinking of doing it. It's The E-Myth. And it's been rewritten a couple of times. I read it back first in the 90s and all, but it gets to the idea that you first start and you've got a passion. And then the problem the entrepreneur quickly runs into is you need about 3 legs, and you need somebody who's the manufacturing, you got somebody who's got the idea, the development, the marketing, and then you need some kind of back office financial savvy. And one of the fortunate things for my wife and I is the things that she's good at, I'm really crappy at. The things that I'm good at, she's not so good at. And I guess I could have put that more positively, saying I make up for her shortcomings and she makes up for my shortcomings.
That's perfect.
And that's been very successful.
Sounds like a great match.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's really, really great. So, we talked a little bit about the company. How could someone check into your company and see what you've got to offer if they want to do so?
You just find us on the website. We're www.suspenz.com. Yeah, that's SUSPENZ.
Okay, yep.
And we've got online presence there. We sell direct off of the website. We sell on Amazon, and we sell through broad-based dealers, both the mom-and-pop stores and then also through on up through like an REI.
You mentioned REI as well. That's great. So thank you so much for coming in. I think it's a very cool story and, sort of making the transition from the career corporate life to something that's much more rewarding.
Fulfilling,
It's fulfilling. It's yours. It's based upon something you love and you enjoy and you're filling a need. It's something people should consider. You don't have to just wrap it up and be done at the age of blah, 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 65 or something, just because you think you should be done. If there's something that you've got a passion about and you want to continue your career, this is a great way to do it. Just start your own business, and it can be as small as a one-man band or a one-woman band, and it could be something that you might want to grow a little larger. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing your time. Love the conversation. I think people will find this really interesting, and I hope they check out Suspenz as well, because the products are really cool. As I always like to do when I wrap up these podcasts, I'll just kind of touch on finance for a minute or two. And you've heard me say, either on these podcasts or radio program or in person, inflation is there. It's real. Won't spend a lot of time on it today, but I will say that if you have money, cash money, sitting somewhere that's not earning any interest because it's nice and safe. Maybe it's in a savings account or a money market. I get it. Everyone loves to have money that's accessible and liquid and all those things. However, if it's accessible and liquid and you like it there because it's safe and it's not exposed to all the scary conditions and the market risk and the crazy things that are happening in the world, I get it. However, inflation changes the game. It changes the calculation. They've talked about inflation, the Fed has recently, as it's transitory. Blah, blah, blah. Inflation is here. Some of it's going to stay permanently. Some of it's what I call sticky inflation. So if you have your money sitting, some cash money sitting someplace safe that's earning, some crazy low amount of interest, 1/10%, 1/4%, you have to look at putting it somewhere, at least some of it, that enables you to earn a better rate of interest. And you can do so in a way that's still very safe, very conservative, but in a way that allows you to make a return that helps you keep up with the rate of rising prices. They're calculating that inflation for 2021 is going to be somewhere between 6 and 8%, and I would not at all be surprised if they revise that by the time December rolls around to 10%. So if you're sitting on a pile of cash somewhere and you're sitting on it because you want to avoid market risk. I get it. Not everyone is going to sign up for market risk, and there are other ways to make a return besides taking on market risk that are far better than that offer far better rates of return or potential rates of return than what you're getting in maybe a bank account. But if your money is sitting there earning 0.25% or 0.1%, and we've got 8% inflation, well, that means you're losing 8% of your buying power, or 7.75% of your buying power, every year. So all you're doing is losing money safely, which is exactly the thing you were trying to avoid, i.e. losing money, by having it sitting in a savings account. So if you've got lazy money sitting around doing nothing, just do a little research, make a few phone calls. You're welcome to contact me. You can do so through our website or here at the office. Maybe you work with another financial advisor, or maybe you just want to look online and use Google as your friend and figure out what other solutions might be. But please do something. You don't want to just sit there and have the value of your money depreciate over time. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Enough finance for the day. If you want to check us out, you can go to our website, which is 3bfg.com. That's the number 3bfg.com. And I sure hope you tune in for the next episode of When Good Things Happen. Thanks, folks.
Thank you for listening to When Good Things Happen. If you enjoyed today's show, visit whengoodthingshappen.com to share your retirement lifestyle dream, access information about our guests, and sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Three Bridges Financial Group is an independent financial services firm that utilizes a variety of investment and insurance products. Investment advisory services offered only by duly registered individuals through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM. AEWM and Three Bridges Financial Group are not affiliated companies. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as a sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Three Bridges Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute as tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Three Bridges Financial Group.